You know what this place needs? A proper place to sleep. Yeah, that ought to do it. It's just somewhere to rest my head at night, you know? Oh yeah, once we dig all this out, this place would have loads of potential. I could make a nice big bedroom, maybe a big bathroom. Oh, the possibilities are endless. Oh yeah, this is going to be perfect. We've got a living room and a bedroom tucked away around the back. Looking pretty good. And this bathroom, I've got a great idea. Now, where is this place? One Ravine Way. Ah, here we are. Coming. Yes? Got a couple of deliveries here for Mr. Bugman CX. Is that you? Oh, yes, that's me. All right, we got a couple of throw pillows and the DIY spa kit. Enjoy. Oh, I've been looking forward to this. Oh, these are just the pillows. Ah, here it is. The self-assembly spa kit. Got the components and some instructions here as well. Let's take these into the bathroom and see what it looks like. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, well, we can assemble it with this and wow, look at that. I can't wait to try this out. You know what? These things always look bigger on TV. Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Minecraft The Journey with me, Bugman CX. We're in Minecraft Beta 1.9 pre-release 3 at the moment, and I'm over here in the brewing area because in pre-release 2, we were checking out the new brewing mechanics that were introduced in that version, although they weren't technically accessible in the game. Jeb was still working on how to make all of the brewing mechanics work, and at the time, it was based on using cauldrons. The cauldrons weren't technically accessible in the game, so we actually had to mod the game in order to get access to them, and this was actually done by Jeb. He didn't enable this behavior by default on purpose because that system was incomplete. In fact, that system was so incomplete that by this version, pre-release 3, it's been completely replaced by a brand new way of brewing up potions, and we're going to be exploring all of that today. When we modified 1.9 pre-release 2 to access the cauldrons, we were able to craft them, place them, and interact with them, and we had 4 of them right here. But when we upgraded to pre-release 3, the block ID that was assigned to these cauldrons changed, and so the game didn't recognize what the block was here and just deleted the 4 cauldrons. But the cauldron still exists in pre-release 3. In fact, we can craft one up if we just access a crafting grid here. The recipe is placing some iron in this configuration and we get ourselves a cauldron, and we should be able to place that down, and it looks and feels and smells exactly like all of the other ones do. We can fill it up with water as well. Let's make a bucket for ourselves, and this should behave in exactly the same way as it did before. If we fill it with water, yes, we can fill it with water. And the way that we would make the cauldrons in the previous version is we would start to add ingredients. So if we go over here to sugar, and let's take some sugar out, and we'll head back over to the cauldron here and try and place some in. Unfortunately, it doesn't work, and I'm really disappointed about that. I'm not disappointed that the cauldron brewing mechanics have changed. I'm disappointed that you can no longer make colored liquid inside of the cauldrons because I thought that looked so amazing, and unfortunately, we're just left here with the cauldron being able to hold water. Let's just check and see what you can do with it though. Can I remove this water? No. But I've just come back with some glass bottles because I thought maybe you can use the glass bottles in the cauldron. Yes, okay, you can use the glass bottles, which means that the cauldron does sort of have a use, but I can actually fill up glass bottles from just a water source like this. So it's really only a decorative block at the moment, unfortunately, because I thought this thing had so much potential. But why was this system even changed at all? Well, in Jeb's own words, he said, potions are delayed because add to cauldron, pick up, look at tooltip, pour back into cauldron, repeat was extremely tedious. And in a way he was right, it was way too complicated. But Jeb and Notch discussed it and they came up with a new idea for brewing. A quick discussion with Notch led me in on a new way of doing the potion brewing. Cauldron is out. So, the cauldron is out. Jeb said, I liked the cauldron too, but it was hard to make the interaction with it work as I wanted. The cauldron's still in the game, but it doesn't really do anything at the moment. You can still add water to it though. I have a split screen going on here, and on the left-hand side is the world when we left it at the end of exploring the cauldrons in pre-release 2 with the Cauldron mod enabled. And on the right-hand side is our current world in pre-release 3. And inside of these chests are all sorts of different potions that I brewed up using the cauldron mechanics. Removed potions were potions with effects that I knew wouldn't carry forward to future versions, like haste and nausea and mining fatigue and other strange things like that. Potion types are all of the different types of potions that it was possible to get, like dashing, and we've got rank and refined and smooth, all of those sorts of things. And up the top here are just more miscellaneous potions that we brewed up in this version. So we've got hunger and slowness and poison, hunger again, speed, things, all things like that. Now I'm keen to see what happens to the potions on the right hand side. Let's just open one of these chests up so we have a little basis of comparison. Over here on the right hand side, we've got the same chest. Let's compare. So it looks like the potion colors are all wildly different. Over here, they're now glowing with the glint, but the potion colors seem to be a combination of pinks and purples and blues. Over here, you've got the reds and the greens and pinks and all sorts of things like that. Comparing each potion, the first one here is a potion of fire resistance in pre-release 3, whereas before that, this one was a potion of slowness and hunger. So no doubt the entire mechanics have changed so much that whatever ID number was associated with this potion is now just fire resistance. The same is probably here, instant health. This one used to be, a mundane potion with no effects, but this one, full of different potions, is now just a potion of weakness. So I can't really be sure how or why this was all affected, but I definitely know that something has changed quite a lot. Here we have a number of potions that have no effects in the current version. They all still do have potion types though, charming and thin and so on, just no effects. And over here, these all had different potion effects associated with them. So unfortunately, all of the work that we did in this previous version is kind of now lost, although I am sure we do have some unique potions in our collection here, just nothing very special anymore. So what is the cauldron being replaced with? What exactly did Notch and Jeb have in mind? Well, Jeb said, "Look back at me, your cauldron is now a brewing stand. Anything's possible when you're working with interaction design." Well, we got our first look at this new prototype as well in a screenshot that Jeb posted, and if you have a close look at it, you can see what looks like a central blaze rod column and then some metal hooks coming out with bottles hanging there ready to be brewed. There's no base stand or anything like that, so it just sort of sits up on its own. So I'm keen to get my hands on one of these for myself, but how do we craft one? Well, the first ingredient we need can be found here in a nether fortress. It's the blaze rod, and I've already created a farm here in a previous episode, so we do have access to loads and loads of blaze rods, but I kind of want to encounter one out here in the wild and see if we can get one naturally. Where are they all? You know, this is really strange. This is a section of the nether fortress which I've been slowly carving away at to get access to this nether brick here, but in the whole time that I've been out here doing this, I haven't seen any blazes spawn here. I know I've definitely encountered them in the wild in this fortress in the past, so what's going on? Has something broken in this version to do with spawning blazes in the wild? I don't know. Thing is, it's quite a large fortress, so if there were going to be any blazes, I'm pretty sure I would have seen them by now. I've crossed over into this little section which I don't think I've been to before, and I do see a natural blaze spawner here. So I guess this is as good as anything, right? Let's see if we can get a blaze rod without dying. I'm not wearing any armor, as you can see, which is pretty normal for me, but let's see. Let's see if we can get a blaze rod. Yes, we can. Oh, ow, oh, that hurt. Ow, maybe I should wear armor. I'm back, and I thought that since it was necessary now to use blaze rods to create our brewing stands, why not introduce a little bit of the nether into our base here? So I've created this area, and you can see why I needed so much nether brick. I've created this little area here, which is going to be for our new brewing setup. It's kind of in a passageway, which isn't too bad because you don't need too much here. You just need some chests of ingredients, and we're going to place the brewing stands right here. And look at this around the corner. We've got another little gangway here and a little pretend blaze spawner right up here as well, which I think looks pretty cool. This goes up here to just behind the furnaces. I've had to in front of the furnaces, I've had to reroute quite a bit of my pathways here just to make this all fit in nicely. But down here as well, we've got a new way down to the bottom now. You go around the back of this section here, you've got this really tall hallway and then a staircase that goes all the way out here to the bottom. So once we head back up, I'll be able to craft our new brewing stands. The crafting recipe for a brewing stand is a blaze rod and 3 cobblestone across the bottom, and this should create a brewing stand. I'm keen to have a look at this. There we have it. It looks a little bit different to the screenshot which Jeb showed us. That was just a work in progress. The previous version with Jeb's model had hooks which the bottles would sit in, and this has these little pad things which you can put the bottles into. Also, it has these little red things which weren't in Jeb's original screenshot, so I'm not sure what they are. Maybe some kind of little funnel. So I'm going to craft up a few of these. We'll have 4 of them along here for our brewing needs, and then we'll see how they work. The biggest difference between the new brewing stand and the old cauldron is that you used to fill up the cauldron with water and then just add ingredients to it. Obviously, that doesn't work anymore. So how do you get the water into the brewing stands? Well, this is where the glass bottles come in. I've got some here in my inventory, and what I need to do is fill these up. Now, I can actually use the cauldron for this, but if I fill up glass bottles with the cauldron, you can see that the water level in the cauldron reduces, and I can only fill up 3 glass bottles, so it doesn't really get me very far. So over here I've got this infinite water source where I can just get glass bottles filled up with water to my heart's content. Now what I can do is place those glass bottles into the brewing stand, and actually the hitbox for the brewing stand is really small. It's only this bottom section down here, so if you right click up here, nothing happens. And sometimes if you're using it, you might actually click something in the background and it's just a mess. So down here we'll click the base of the brewing stand, and we can now see the new GUI for the brewing stand. Actually, we've got brewing stand across the top, and we've got 3 slots here with a little icon for the bottle shape to show us where to put the bottles in. Here we've got an arrow showing the brewing process and some bubbles over here. I think these are bubbles anyway, and these should enact whenever we do something with the brewing stand. Up here is where we put our ingredients in, so let's first place 3 glass bottles, and then we can see a full brewing stand with 3 glass bottles. I think it's quite interesting that they've chosen a red texture, considering there are blue water bottles in here at the moment, and that's a little bit strange. And one of the other things is that as you fill up the brewing stand with bottles, let's place 1, you can see that it'll actually place 1 here and the other 2 are empty, so it will reflect the number of bottles correctly in the brewing stand. If I place 1, let's say over on this side, yeah, it chooses the corresponding pad depending on where you put the bottle. So let's head back over here and actually try and brew something. So first we have the input slot. What goes in here? Well, I've got some ingredients up here. We've got some magma cream, ghast here, spider eyes, and let's just take all of these ingredients and have a little bit of a play. Now in the cauldron, if I were to take sugar and place it into the cauldron, I would instantly get a speed potion. So here in the brewing stand, nothing happens. And that's because the mechanics for the brewing stand have changed, and they're reflective of modern Minecraft a little bit more now. So if we take the sugar out, we need to use nether wart first. So here we have a water bottle, and if I place nether wart into the brewing stand, it'll start to brew up. And this whole process takes 30 seconds, so let's just speed up and wait for this to finish. Finally, that took forever. So here we now have an awkward potion, and that's the result of using the nether wart to brew. And from here, I should be able to add new ingredients. So let's try that sugar. Let's place 1 in the top. And right now that sugar is diluting into all 3 of these. So I guess these little channels here are reflective of these red pipes right here. Maybe you put the ingredient up the top somehow, and then it makes its way in to the bottle through this little pipe. I would imagine that's what's going on. So let's have a look. How's this getting on? It's almost done. I think if I remove the sugar, the whole process will stop, which is a little weird that it doesn't consume the item first, but maybe that gives you a chance to change your mind. Okay, and it's finished. And what do we have? Potion of Swiftness, 3 of them. Let's take these out and have a little bit of a look. So these look very similar to the old ones, except Well, this is weird, isn't it? Okay, so on the ground here, it has no glint, and you can see the actual color of the potion being a light kind of turquoisey aqua color. I've never seen them like that before because normally on the ground I'm used to them shimmering with their glint. But in the hotbar in my hand here, of course, we can see that they do actually shimmer with the glint, and that looks pretty cool. All right, so we should drink this up now and make sure it all works. It does, and we do have our speed effect, and we can now zip and zoom all around the base. This is amazing. All right, so I wonder what other things we can brew up. Let's see if we can discover what all of the other items do. We already know that sugar's going to give us speed, so we don't need to do that again. Let's figure out if the fermented spider eye will still give us some kind of, what was it, poison or something? We'll write down all of the things we learn up on this board here, starting with sugar equals speed. We know that one. And then hopefully we'll be able to learn if all of these other ingredients are still consistent in what they deliver. I'm pretty sure they will be. I don't see why they would have changed. And here's what we've learned so far. I'm pretty sure I haven't left anything out here, and I do have all of these potions down here. So we've got sugar for speed, fermented spider eye for weakness, spider eye for poison, gas tear for instant health, magma cream for fire resistance, and blaze powder for strength. But this is the first time that it's possible to modify the potions that you already have brewed. So here we have some speed potions, and as we know, we can just brew that with sugar. And I can actually change the potion that I have here by combining another ingredient. This is similar to how the cauldron worked, but this is a lot more predictable. So if I get myself a fermented spider eye, let's pop that in there, and these should brew up to a completely new potion, and we'll come back and see what that is in a moment. All done. So in here we have slowness. So if you combine a speed potion with fermented spider eye, you'll get slowness, and there should be other combinations too, which maybe I can explore a little bit later on. But over here, I've got some more speed potions because I want to do some more experiments. There are 2 new items which we can use to modify our potions and make their status effects work for either a longer period of time or intensify the actual amount. So here with glowstone dust, if I place that in here, this should modify the speed potions and give me speed 2, or double the speed boost. And over here, if I put redstone in, we should find that these potions will actually increase the amount of duration from 3 minutes, I believe, to 8 minutes. So if this one is almost done, this is speed 1 of 3 minutes. And by the time this gets finished up brewing, it should change. Let's just put the cursor up here and see if we can see it change in real time. We now have speed 2, and the effect has reduced from 3 minutes to 1 minute 30, I see. So what does speed 2 give us that we could not get with speed 1? Probably even more speed. So let's just drink that up, and oh wow, oh absolutely, this is ridiculously fast. I can circumnavigate the entire ravine. I've got 1 minute 30 of this. This is great. I love this, and it's so cheap because, well, as you can see, it's made up from sugar, and sugar is really easy to farm. So with the glowstone over here, we should have speed for 8 minutes. So this has taken the speed potion and increased it from 3 minutes to 8 minutes. I don't need to drink that because I've still got so much speed here. I'm going to run around and wear this off. Ooh! There's one other new interesting feature of the cauldron, and that is that it technically allows us to bring water into the nether. As we know, if we dump out water in the nether here, it just turns to smoke because you're not allowed to have water in the nether. But with a cauldron, we can do a special trick. If I place the cauldron down here, I should be able to fill it with water from this bucket. I can. And now if I climb into the cauldron, and now I should be sitting inside of the cauldron, which means I'm immersed in water. Let's just wait for some blaze to spawn and see what happens. Hello! I'm going to let one fire at me. Hopefully you'll come down. Oh, unfortunately, it doesn't work. Oh. Now you may have noticed that the potion brewing system is fairly limited. There are only a handful of status effects that you can get at the moment, and more will be added later. We got to explore a few of them when we were exploring the cauldrons. There were things like night vision and water breathing, but these don't work properly yet, and they'll get fixed in future versions. But for now, I'm going to drink up this speed 2 potion because Oh, I love this so much. And I will see everybody in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. And thank you for all my amazing patrons. You're all wonderful and amazing, and I love you all. But for now, this has been BugmanCX. You've been watching Minecraft The Journey. Goodbye.